Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about National Lampoon's Senior Trip. The first thing I'm going to get into is my overall experience with this film. Um, I'm just going to be 100% honest. This movie ruled. This was just a fun time, super funny, just just so enjoyable. Just a feel good comedy, a silly, goofy comedy. Didn't take itself too serious. The jokes were on point. I liked all the party elements. It was just a grand time. And this movie has been on my radar for a little bit. I'm a fan of quite a few other National Lampoon movies. I wrote like down a list. I'm just gonna share the other ones that I like with you all. So, of course, you got some of the classics: Animal House. Um, you got National Lampoon's Vacation, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Those are all classics. Um, One that's probably honestly my favorite National Lampoon movie is Van Wilder. I've seen that movie like 50 times. Maybe not exactly 50 times, but that's has to be probably my favorite National Lampoon movie. I love Van Wilder. It's a great time. I mean, if you all have seen it, you know what's up. And then some other ones that I like. There's this one called Barely Legal. That's pretty good. And then there's this one called Dorm Days that I like as well. But anyways, I just wanted to share some other National Lampoon movies that I like with you all. So got that out of the way. But like I said, this movie has been on my radar for quite a bit. I've wanted to check it out for quite a while, and it happens to be uh, President's Day tomorrow. So I didn't even really know that much about the plot, but then I read a little plot synopsis, and I was like, oh, this has some presidential themes. I'm like, this would be a perfect movie to watch and upload right before President's Day. It's a win-win because I wanted to watch it anyways. I was kind of in the mood for a comedy, and then I kind of like to coincide like a movie with a holiday, so you know it fits. Um, at this point, I'm gonna give you all a little plot summary. So it's called Senior Trip. So of course follows these seniors in high school. They're just partying on the reg, just turning up, which I love. I love a good party movie. So they actually throw a party at their principal's house, that's gangster. I mean, that's pretty ballsy. Um, and they get caught. So to explain themselves, they blame it on the education system, and they're like, we need to be treated like adults, and blah blah blah. And one thing leads to another. There's this smarter girl. She basically writes a letter. They write the letter to the president. The president is pushing for educational reform, so he wants to bring these kids out to Washington D.C. And at the same time, there's this senator who he has his own motives. He wants to get the president out of power, and he doesn't want this education reform to pass because he's trying to make money with this one guy, this big burger company. And anyways, this senator wants the kids to fail. He wants the kids to show up there and make a fool of themselves. So that's the basic story. Also, a couple of the students disrespect some crossing guard guy, and he just like dresses up as somebody from Star Trek, and he's kind of pursuing them for the movie. So yeah, that's the basic plot. So yeah, initially it takes place at the school, but then for the rest of the movie, it's kind of a road trip movie. They're on this bus, and then they eventually get to Washington D.C. So the whole bus thing actually, so that goes into one of my likes. I'm just gonna get into my likes right now. So the bus driver was Tommy Chong, and he is so funny. He's just so, he's like, what's the magic word? And he's like, the one guy's like, please, and he's like, no, it's rock and roll. And he's taking like horse tranquilizers and just turning up. He's like smoking a bong while driving kids. I mean, I don't know if that's the best like career move, but you know, for as far as the movie goes, it was effing hilarious. And this is probably my favorite part here. This is just like such a short scene, but they're watching, there's this guy and this girl, and they're watching Jason Goes to Hell, and I was like, what is that, Jason Goes to Hell? And I'm not a big fan of Jason Goes to Hell. It's like one of my least favorite Friday the 13th, but I am a fan of the Friday the 13th series and Jason, so that was cool to see that on the screen. And him and this girl, they're kind of like bonding over the movie. They're both pretty much horror fans, and the girl is like, do you think Freddy invades Jason's dreams? And he's like, yeah, I do think that. And they totally just bond, and they form a little relationship over that, which I thought was absolutely awesome. And it's cool because this is like way before Freddy vs. Jason came out, and they're talking about that. Because Freddy vs. Came out like 1995. Freddy vs. Jason came out in the 2000s. I don't know exactly what year. Maybe like 2001. I don't know for sure. I could be wrong. But yeah, that was one of my favorite parts of the movie. The party scenes were awesome. They were, like I said, the kids were turning up. There's this one scene where they're stealing a bunch of alcohol, and they lock the principal in this bathroom, and it's like flooding, and he just keeps slipping, getting all the toilet water on him. That's funny. And they steal like 10 cases of beer and all this liquor, and they're just turning up on the bus. That was awesome. Yeah, super funny. I thought the characters were funny. A lot of them were kind of one-dimensional, but in a good way. Like for this type of comedy, it worked because like their character, they would have like one character trait that was like a running gag. Like there was this one depressed kid who was into poetry, and he's always reading these like dark poetry books, and he's like writing on the computer like, I want to kill myself, which that doesn't sound funny, but if you saw the movie and you knew his character, it's just funny, like this running gag where he's like this depressed intellectual kid. I thought his character was funny. And then there's this heavyset dude, and like every scene he's just like binging on just a obscene amount of food. He'll have a bag of cheese puffs that's like the size of like a small child. Like he'll just be smashing, man. He'll just, every single scene this fool's eating like a 10-course meal. I thought that was pretty funny. And then the last thing that I wrote down for my likes is there's this one scene where they're watching this sex ed video. It's like a black and white one from the 1950s, and then the guy's like, yeah, I'll pull out, and then like the girl, it turns out she gets pregnant, and then she just like hears the voice of the kid in her head where he's like, yeah, I'll pull out, and it's like supposed to shock the kids, and they're just all laughing. But then this one smart girl who wrote the letter, she's like taking notes on it, so that was pretty funny. I'm gonna get into my dislikes and WTF moments in a bit, but there was just a couple random things that I wrote down. So on the cover you have Abe Lincoln drinking a big old beer, rocking some sunglasses, and that kind of reminded me of in the movie Dazed and Confused, when the stoner kid, he's talking about, George Washington smoking weed, and it just got me thinking. I was like, I wonder if the early presidents did turn up. I wonder if they like drank hella beers and smoked weed. I mean, probably not that much, but I mean, you know, if they had like a work hard, play hard type thing going on where it's like when they're not, you know, doing their presidential duties, you know, I wonder if they were turning up. I don't know. That's something that I thought of. I thought the cover was cool. That was pretty awesome. Abe Lincoln drinking a beer. That's what's up. And then another just random thing that I wrote down was the typing class. That reminded me of when I would do typing class. But so they had all the keys exposed. I don't know if you all had this, but when I did typing class, like in elementary school, they put these orange rubber things over the keys so you couldn't see what letter or number you were typing. And me personally, I thought that was the dumbest thing. Like they were trying to have you remember what the place was without looking at the key. Like I would kind of look at the key. I can still type relatively fast. Like sometimes like I like what were they thinking? Like why didn't they just teach us to type and have us like look where the keys were? I don't know. If you all did that where they put the rubber thing to cover up the keys, let me know, cuz yeah, I thought that was like a silly way to learn how to type, but you know, I can still type real good, so it doesn't even matter. Those are my couple random things I wanted to point out. Now I'm going to get into my dislikes. I don't have that many cuz I thought this movie was the bomb.com, but you got to have a couple dislikes or else, you know, I don't know. It's just like what is it? No movie is like absolutely perfect. Um, so yeah, I mentioned that Star Trek guy earlier. One of my dislikes is I just thought he was pretty annoying throughout the whole movie. And then another one of my dislikes is also related to him, where nothing really happened. He's like pursuing these kids the entire movie, and you think there's gonna be, you know, something's gonna happen with his character. Nothing ever happens. He's just on the top of the bus and he gets bumped off, and then that's it. And then my last dislike is, so at the end of the movie, there's this like, I think it's like after the credits. Not after, but like when the credits are rolling, it's like simultaneously these like scenes, these where are they now pictures. It's like are they showing up. So basically, you know, during the credits you'll see a picture of the character and it'll say like what they're up to now. And I didn't like that because most of it was like not positive stuff. It was like depressing. It's like they went nowhere, or they got in trouble, or they lost their job. And I mean, it was such like a fun, you know, feel good movie where like that kind of bummed me out. There's other movies that do that where like they do like the where are they now thing, and it's kind of depressing. It bums me out. So that was my last dislike. I mean, you can tell that I like this movie. I had a ton of likes, couple dislikes. So the dislikes, they didn't really bother me that much. And then I'm just gonna get into my WTF moments and then wrap things up here in a second. So I only have one WTF moment, and that is so like I said at the beginning of the movie, they're partying at their principal's house, and this one chick who's pretty darn fine is trying to get with the main character, and she wants to like, you know, she wants to get with him in the principal's room, which, I mean, that's awesome. But he's interested in this in the smarter girl who wrote the letter to the president. So he just like totally turns down this chick, and I'm thinking like, why not just get with like both? Like you're gonna like pass up that opportunity. You could get with her now and then get with her later. Like you're just gonna turn that down? Or I mean, how much play do you have with the females where you can just turn down a fine chick like that, like trying to get with you in the principal's bedroom? Like, come on, man. That was just, yeah, that bummed me out. That was definitely a WTF moment. But like I said, that was really the last thing that I wanted to get to. I said it earlier, I thought this movie was awesome, super funny. It was just an overall good time. I would definitely recommend it. And I'm going to wrap things up here. So Thank you all for watching, and peace out.